Ooh. Okay, after 4 minutes, we start our lectures about features of physical and psychomotor development of the child. Lectures for second year student, Department of Propedeutics of Pediatrics, lecturer Luzin, medical doctor. Okay. Okay, just in time, we begin our lectures. Topic of our lectures, features of physical and psychomotor development of the child. What is the physical development? Physical development is a dynamic process of growth and biological maturation of the child in any given period of childhood. It's a dynamic process. Uh, what method do you use for finding the parameters of physical development of the child. For example, body weight. Rules of measurement of body weight are the following. It's necessary to check equal horizontal position of balance and necessary to adjust it before each weighting of child. Children up to 6 months of age are placed supinely, on special mechanical children's scale. It may be electronic version of scale, such as on um, paying, on photo. Children more than 6 months old may be placed on a ball of the same scale and sitting in a sitting position. If it's not contraindicate, nude and dress with preliminary weight napkin. The napkin must be cover all parts of the balance ball. The head of baby must be on a wide part of the balance. If the child of more than 3 years of age, during measurement of body weight must be down in a standing position on medical level weights. You can also use an electronic scale, such as in our photos. It's a more modern electronic version of special children's scale. Height. Height of older children is measured in standing position of a standard vertical height measuring rod or stadiometer. The child pressed against the vertical rod his occupied part of his backbone between the scapula, his sacrum and heels. During this, the heel must be near each other, of finger of foot must be separated. The head is held in such a position in the lower eyelid, and the top edge of external acoustic meatus make a horizontal line. Hands are placed along the trunk, fingers are straight at the joints, palm are held against the things. In this position, the movable plate is of the measuring rod is placed on a head without pressing, and the place where stop specific the body height of the child. It's on the photo. You can see two variants for early age babies and for elder babies. How check the height or length of body for more correct for children of early age. The rate of increase of body weight after the breastfeeding age and then increase in body height is characterized in non-uniformity in different years of life and also depend on gender. Faster increase in body weight, so-called the first growth spurt, trusted Proceritas prima, is observed in 4 to 5.5 years in boys and in 6-7 years in girls. Further, the growth rate is slowed down. In 11 to 14 years for girls and from 12 to 17 Yes, for boys, a second growth spurt, Proceditus secunda, is marked after that considerable slowdown. The body weight uh, reached in maximum in 18 20 years. It's have two spurt of height during childhood. The head circumference is measured by a tape measure. It is placed behind of maximum protrusion of occipital tuberance and in front on a superciliary arch. You can see on the upper photo how it's make on babies. The chest circumference at the age of breastfeeding is measured in supine position from a second year's life in standing position. The tape measure is placed on black below the angles of scapulas in the front above the nipples. With girls, it's a puberty period. The tape in the front of place above the mammary glands at a level of first rib. Chest circumference in older children is measured at the end of inspiration and of expiration and during respiratory pause. And in average, we um, have true data. Limb circumference is important during disorder of physical development in some diseases. To measure the upper arm, thin and thin centimeter tape is applied on the rear area of the most developed muscles, and such measurements are conducted in a horizontal position of child. No, it's maybe for specific situation on some diseases. Criteria for evaluation of physical development. The rules and criteria for evaluation of physical development, the order of monitoring the science of child developments in the dynamics are subject to significant change and conform to international standards. To evaluate the parameters of physical development, growth standard, another name, was a significant amount reached conduced of 8,440 children from birth to 71 months during 1997 and 2003 years in 6 countries: USA, India, Brazil, Ghana, Norway, and Oman. These growth standards were developed by World Health Organization in 2006. These rules are global and are recommended by World Health Organization as an international standard for physical development of a child of early age in all countries, regardless of ethnicity, socioeconomic status, and type of feedings. The necessary conditions for examination were exclusive breastfeeding for 4 months, and this should be taken as a compulsory until the end of first years of life. Adequate rational nutrition, adequate child care, quality health care, and the absence of maternal smoking during pregnancy and after. It's a necessary condition for examination of health for healthy growth standard. Mhm. Sorry, we have some technical problems with our lectures, and we return to lectures um, and continue our lectures. Main criteria for assessing the physical development of child include weight to age, weight by age and height by age, weight by weight and weight by height, body mass indexes, BMI for age, and hand circumference. After examination in previous slide, you can see um, uh, evaluate parameters of physical development, growth standard. Да? After this, World Health Organization make a specific graphic for determine uh, what parameters of physical development of child. No, for example, such as here, you can see graphic for estimate physical growth rate and height for age for boys from birth to 5 years on, and standard deviations. You can see on horizontal position it's age, for vertical position it's light in or height in height or height in centimeters. Um, in growth between age and parameters of height, we have according to these lines for normal parameters, just normal parameters is 0 in green lines, from +2 and -2 it's a deviation of normal parameters, and on the next graphics you can see how it make um, cross check. Note, for example, uh, if the intersection of child indicated weight or height and age would be between the curves of standard deviation 3 +3 and -2, an indicator of body weight height is within the normal. Вот. You can see that. In the cases of cross of parameters between curves of standard deviation 2 and -3 concludes weight and height, retention. If a crossing will be located below the cover of standard deviation -3, is the conclusion of severe late height after retention. Attention in the point below -2 and -3 are not ruled out the likelihood of excessive weight. If the initial assessment of physical development, the indicator points of cross weight and height and age will be above the curves of standard deviation, Sorry, да, алло, да. Okay. Which were above the curves of standard deviation 3, the child is very tall, but there is no need to think about any diseases, such as according to height or weight. Body mass index considered above, finding the physical development of child in terms of weight to light or height is not always enough to be objective. Therefore, the final and most reliable parameters of assessing the physical development is the calculation of so-called body mass index (BMI) for age. While often the result is of these two indicators match, BMI is usually used to determine the potential of child's excessive weight or obesity. The formula for calculating BMI is you can see this formula, and as you can see, the weight list in kilogram and light height must be translated in the meters. BMI, the result should be rounded to one decimal. No, such as here, you can see graphic how determine parameters for BMI. Finally, depending of intersection of lines may be as follow. If intersection of lines of BMI and age would be between the curves of standard deviation 1 and -2, the physical development is normal. You can see. In the case of cross lines touched BMI and age between the curves of standard deviation of -2 and -3, have concluded to present a child emanciation. Crows below -3 standard deviation indicated severe emanciation to the child. If in case the result of assessment of physical development, the point of cross age and BMI will be between the curves 1 and 2, in the medical conclusion indicated that is the child has expressed risk of excessive body weight, overweight. When the gross lines of age and BMI between the standard curves 2 and 3 is the conclusion of the extent of a child excessive body weight, overweight. With gross lines of age and BMI above the curve 3, diagnosed obesity. You can see these parameters. The basis of initial decision or in the medical conclusion concerning of condition of physical development of a child, overage high values act is these parameters of body weight or height. According to these corridors of the table which contain these parameters. In this situation, describe a table according to percentile table and percentile graphics. It's not previous our z-score graphics. It's another method, another instrument of um, decision, medical conclusion of physical development. And you can see in every table of percentile table of graphics percentile, it's the same, just only different variant describe the different parameters of body. You can see include 8 6 7 6 corridor, or column in table and corridor between both of these parameters. Just only copy this table for better understanding in practice classes when you use this special method of percentile table in making a condition of physical development of a child. It's specific specific photos how use different variant percentile tables and z-score graphics for understanding it's how it's connect between two methods of estimate physical development. No, you can see these different variant of percentile graphics and percentile table, for example. It's body mass index for each percentile table and table for birth from birth to 2 years late for age for girls. You can see this different variant, but the method is the same. For calculating the harmony and proportional physical development of the child, for estimation of all parameters of physical development of the child, and finding out of proportionality of the anthropometric data, we can use a percentile table. In addition, there are 8 individual table, weight and body body weight, head circumference and chest, depending on gender, boys and girls. 6 column of each of percentile table, specifically size of parameters of physical development and the certain percent of child from a total number, which at each age 100%. All children are divided to 6 groups, then correspond to each of these columns. First column, the third sentence. Attention, percentile is such a value of studied parameters, less of which can be found in a similar percent of children, toys in i.e. in 3% of total children in each age. There are such parameters of physical development which are specified in the first column of the table or even less than these parameters. Second column is tenths centiles. It's parameters of physical development which don't exceed the figures specified in the column are observed of everybody of the 10% of all children include 3% from the first column also, but actually exact parameters of physical development between one and second column are present in 7% of children. 10% of the column minus 3% of the column, one column, first column. The third column, 25th percentiles. Exact parameters between the second and third column are found in 15% children. 25 of third column minus 10% of second column. Fourth column, 75 centile. Parameters of the third to first column are in children 50%. 5 column, it's 19 centiles. Parameters of physical development from the first to fifth column are present in 15% also. And 6 column, 97 centile. Parameters of this column from the fifth up to sixth column are noted to 7% children. Together, all parameters of this column according to 100% of all children. Simultaneously, with the help of percentile table, the proportionality or harmonicity of physical development of the child is found out. If a number of corridors of all anthropometric data are identical or a difference between any two of them is not more than one corridor, for example, different parameters of body describe such as several parameters, then the physical development of child is proportional or harmonious. If a difference between the corridor is two numbers over the corridor, for example, more than one corridor, for example, 2, 4, 3, 4, between 2 and 4, more than one corridor, two corridors. The development is disproportional and disharmonious. A high disproportional or high disproportional, disharmonious, and the development of children, the deviation in column number of anthropometrical data in 3 and more corridors. Examples. Use percentile. If we use a percentile table, a 5-year-old body has a body weight of 111 centimeters. It's corridor 4. Body weight of 20 kilograms. It's also corridor 4. Head circumference of 52 centimeters. Also corridor 4. Chest circumference 54 centimeters, its corridor third corridor C. Thus, all of these parameters of physical development are within the limits uh, of third and fourth corridors, which don't exceed one corridor. It corresponds to normal average value and specificities, the harmonious development of body. It's harmonious or proportional. Second example, the 4 months old body has a body weight 58 centimeters, body weight of 5,400 grams, head circumference of 48 centimeters, chest circumference 43 centimeters. Please these parameters in corridor of correspondingly table. As you can see in the table, the data is located according to first, second, seventh, and the fourth corridors. The body weight of body weight correspond to very low and low size. Head has circumference to very high size. Chest circumference to average size. Fluctuation between the corridors number first and seventh is exceeded to 3. Thus, the physical development of child referred to very low size, body weight in the first corridor, and highly disharmonious demands specific consultation and inspection. Uh, Describe some parameters of mm, body at birth. At birth for a full-term newborn, the body weight at an average is 3,500 gram for the male child and 3,350 grams for girl's child. It's average. Permissible normal fluctuation of body weight are from 2007 grams till to 4,000 grams. If the body weight at birth exceeded 4,000 grams, then the child is considered large. In the first day after the birth, the child weight decreased a little. Sorry, a little. This is called physiological loss of body weight. You describe it when you study about a newborn baby. Reduction of weight up to 6-8% from weight of body at birth is considered as a maximum limit. This process continued for up to 30 days of life, and by the 7-8 days the weight of the newborn is restored. Physiological loss of body weight is due to following factors. In the first days of life, the child received a small amount of mother's milk and the loss of a great amount of energy because right after the birth all organs and system of newborn start functioning. 3/4 of lost body weight are due to perspiratio insensibility, that is due to excretion of liquid without the sensation of this process to skin. The liquid is lost through the functional respiratory system after birth also. Excretion of urine, meconium, falling of umbilical cord, and drying in of umbilical way would are the another reason reasons of reduction of body weight at newborn. The weight of body of a newborn of a specific importance as a parameters of maturity of the organism. Normally, it is equal to 50 centimeters. 50.7 average is 50.7 centimeters and 50.2 centimeters for boys and girls respectively. Permissible fluctuation are from 46 to 56 centimeters. The head circumference of child at birth is in average 34 to 30 um, yes, sorry, uh, 34 to 36 centimeters, and the chest circumference is 32 to 34 centimeters. Every month during the first half years of life, the weight increased by 800 grams every month, and during the second half of year by 400 grams also every month. Second half year, second half of first year's life. For example, body weight of child at birth is 3,500 grams. Right now, he's 9 months old, and at this age, ideal weight of his body is equal body weight at birth plus the first 6 months every uh, month increase of 800 grams, and for next 3 months up to the age of 8 months old. In result, we have 9,500 grams. After the breast feeding periods till to 10 years of age, the parameters of actual body is calculated with by the formula. 10.5 kilogram, its average body weight at 1 year old child, plus 2 on n, whereas n is the age of child, in year. Attention, not year after the first years of life, mean by actual age of the child, it's total age in year. After 10 years, the body weight increase by 4 kilogram annually. No, and you can see example how calculated the child of first years old, child is of 13 years old, how calculated you can see if use this formula, calculated formula. Um, for calculation of parameters of ideal growth of child during the first year's life, um, monthly age of body weight are used. The first quarter or first 3 months of by every month by 3 centimeters. The second quarter of year by 2.5 centimeters, the third quarter by 2 centimeters, and the first quarter by 1.2 centimeters. Uh, um, it's for calculating for growth of children's first year's life. At an average till to 4 years of body weight increase uh, 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 by 8 centimeters annually, and by 4 years it equal 100 centimeters. After 4 years of age, the body weight increase by 6 centimeters annually. Age parameters of increase of head circumference are following: the first 6 months every month by 1.5 centimeters, second half year increased by 0.5 centimeter monthly, till to 5 years old. After uh, 1 years old, by 1 centimeters annually, till to 15 years after 5 years old, by 0.6 centimeters annually. And you can see example how calculated head circumference of an if for children of 11 years old. We use head circumference at birth plus increase head circumference during first 6 months plus second 6 months plus 4 years, and after 4 years to 11 increase, and such as result it may be nearly 54-55 centimeters. Age parameters of increase the chest circumference are following: the first 6 months by 2 centimeters monthly, second half year second by 0.5 centimeters monthly, until to 10 years every year increase 1.5 centimeters, and after 10 years till 15 years by 3 centimeters annually. And such as result, you can see example how calculate child parameters of chest circumference of child 13 years old. Um, the postnatal hypertrophy or protein energy deficiency. Hypertrophy or marasmus, a severe eating disorder, subacute or chronic cause caused by insufficiency or inadequate absorption of nutrients, which is clinically manifested by physical impairment of a child of first, second years of life, and there is a reduction of actual body weight in comparison with ideal body weight. According to World Health Organization, new definition can be used, such as protein energy deficiency or protein caloric deficiency. which is the most frequent etiological factors and type of hypertrophy. The diagnosis is maybe right after the first months of life. Hypertrophy is divided into 3 degrees depending on deficiency of actual body weight and comparison with ideal body weight. The first degree and deficiency body weight from 11 to 12 to 20%. The third degree at moderately deficiency of body weight 21 to 30%. And the third degree severe atrophy or marasmus deficiency of body weight more than 31 centimeter. Hypostature is identical lacks of growth and body weight in children in the first years of life in comparison with average normative parameters for corresponding age. Body weight in case of hypostature is less than normative data by 5 to 10 centimeters. In older children by 15-20 centimeters. Still, to the actual body weight is less than an average indices and corresponding to growth of the child. Signs of hypertrophy is not present here. According to percentile table, the parameters of physical parameters is often below the first column. The cause of hypertrophy most often lies in insufficiency quantity of fiber and vitamin intake since the intrauterine period during the first year's life uh, more often grows inhibitor development of in the case of is chronic hypertrophy more than 6 months and chronic diseases usually bacterial etiology. Paratrophy is a result of chronic infringement of feeding in 1 year old children which characterized by the increase in the body weight in comparison with normal data by 10% and more. This is more concerned on increasing body weight to body weight. Depending on value of excess of the body weight, paratrophy is divided to 3 degrees. The first degree is increase 11 to 20%. The third degree 24 to 30%, and third degree more than 31%. According to percentile table, these parameters falls above the 6th column or higher than P 90 on nomogram. The excess of body weight in the child after 1 year old is called to obesity. Degree of obesity too are established dependent of amount of excess body weight, but this is differential from paratrophy also. The first degree from 10 to 28%, third degree 30 to 48%, third degree second degree, third degree 50 to 99%, and first degree 10%, 100% and more increase body weight than normal. It's according to body weight, but we have also different body height, nanism or dwarfism in impediment of physical development when is shown in a lag in growth in comparison with average normative for the age, gender, population, and race. As for adult person of white race, it grows below 130 centimeters and in men and 120 centimeters in women is considered to dwarfism. Etiology of nanism is congenital or acquired genetic infringements of growth of the organism. The basic symptoms of dwarfism is growth inhibition. Other clinical signs depend of diseases which was a cause of nanism. More often children at birth have normal growth and their lag is noted from 2 to 4 years. Frequent signs of dwarfism are dry and drinking skin with pale with yellowish shade, childish fine facial features, insufficient, insufficient muscle development, excess deposition of fats on the breast, false mammary glands, a low arterial pressure. The prognosis for the life is variable. Now it's possible to reverse dwarfism. In these cases, principal values of timely diagnosis and treatment of child because therapy is effective until the closing of growth zones. Gigantism is a clinical syndrome, the basic which is hyperproduction of somatotropic hormone, and this results in excessive increase of growth. Most often it happened with diseases of hypophysis. Gigantism developed during several years. Increase the increase in growth is shown in puberty and puberty period, pre-puberty and puberty periods. Children complain of deterioration of general health, headache, weakness, fatigue, pain in extremities, muscle power will decrease gradually. Physical development of the child with gigantism is disproportional. Psychomotor development of child. Psychomotor. When a child is born, its nervous system at least development and differential in comparison to the other organs and system. At the same time, the system has most important function. The nervous system help in adaptation of an individual to various environmental conditions. It's regulated vital functions of internal organs and provides their coordinated activity. To estimate the level of formation of nervous system in children, namely psychomotor development, we should take into account the following criteria: motility, statics, sensory reaction, speech, and mental development. Motility or movement is purposeful manipulative activity of child. For healthy newborn at rest, so-called physiological muscular hypertonia is characteristic and as a result of this, the flexed position of body. Muscular hypertone is symmetrical, expressed to all positions on abdomen, supine, and lateral and ventricle suspended position. Arms are bent in all joints and pressed to thorax. You can see on picture its position of newborn. The movement of newborns are limited, chaotic, and with a little tremor. The tremor and physiological hypertones of muscles disappear gradually at the end of the first or at the beginning of the second month of life. Static fixing and keeping a various part of trunk in a required position. The first signs of static is holding of head. It appears on the second, third months and at 3 months of age. The child should hold of its head well in vertical position. At 4 months, the baby make an attempt to press her legs against the child table, but after the month, he can stand and supported by armpit. The second sign, the child sits. Usually, it's developed at fourth, sixth, seventh months. Beside, on the 6 months, the child begin to crawl, and on seventh, crawl well. The third sign, the child stand by ninth, 10th months. At 9 months, the child is often supported by arms. At 10 months, he can stand alone, supported by any subject, for example, table, chair, and after the month, she can stand without support. The fourth attribute, the child walks it by the end of the first year's life. Sensory reaction, a progressive formation of child characteristic respond to light, sound, touch, and pain. One of the first manifestation of newborn is a food dominance, such as time of feeding approach. The child get hungry and cries. This is good. Sucks his hair and mother's brick, drink milk. He calms down and falls asleep. By the end of the first month, after some minutes of sucking the breast, a small pause comes. The child watches attentively at the face of mother, touch her breast. On the second month, the smile is formed. On the third, joyful movement of arm and legs and side of mother. All these are manifestation of sensory reaction. At the estimation of psychomotor development, it's necessary to remember that the signs are dynamic in time. Each criterion is showing different at each age. Uh, Acoustical and visual concentration on the second month of life are checked by neurologists. For estimation of hearing, the doctor clamps his hands at distance 30-40 from the ear of child lying on sweating table. It's maybe or possible to clamp on table. During this, the healthy child should blink. You can throw a toy on the floor, and child should be see it fall. It if hearing is well developed, the child will hear this knock on floor and should move toward the toy. In in the absence of hearing, the child will see the fall of the toy, but would not move toward the door at this age. For checking sight, doctors carry bright object in distance of 30 centimeters above the eyes of child, which is in line position from the side to another side. And if that is development, the eyes of child should watch to movement of the subject. Speech appears when the child is uh, of 6 weeks of age, when she hears starts to grin out first sound to agu agu act. Uh, at the age of 6 months, the child begin to say separate syllables, syllables, syllables like ba ba ba, ma ma ma, act without understanding of their sense. This is known as babble. By the end of first year's life, the child vocabulary already contains 8, 12 words, and he understands their sense. For example, mama, baba, dada, and act. Almost among them, there is onomatopoetic to eat, wow, wow, and for puppy, tick tock, clock, and act. By the age of second years old, uh, the child's vocabulary reaches to 300 words and some brief sentences appear. Mental development is referred to positive or negative emotion and formation of child's social age. Let's consider uh, kinds of gradual mental development. Already at 1 month, baby responds to dissatisfaction to strong sound and light stimuli. At 2, 3 months, baby is distinct social smile with speaking with him here. At 4 months, the child lows out loud when you talk to him here. At 5th month, at 5 months, the baby is already aware the mood of speaking. For example, if you say, "Oh, my darling, my sunshine," she or he smiles. But when you strictly say, "Why you scattering of room," you can not. A signs frustration appear to face and child can cry. At 6 months, if the child requests the attention of loved ones, the 9 months baby usually comes to contact with familiar people, emotion, reaction, movements, and act. And at the end of the first year's life, the child express mimic movement, becomes happy, and she can play with other children selectively, which may be accompanied by laughter and babble. There is videos regard for the patient parents. This is show when a child is asked to harm them. Frankly speaking, and greatest satisfaction will be felt mostly by parents. To access motility of a state of psychomotor development, a doctor pediatrician should be find out the expressiveness of phylogenetic conditions. Reflexes in a newborn and a child of breastfeeding age. All uh, unconditional reflexes depended of time of the existent and developed and divided into three groups: permanent, transitory, and threatened. The basic reflexes it's swallowing, tandem, corneal, conjunctival, and supraorbital reflex. You you can see these describe these reflexes and repeat it in practice classes. The basic oral reflexes includes sucking reflex, Kussmaul-Hansel search reflex, lip reflex, and Babkin reflex. All these reflexes disappear to some years. Uh, for example, Babkin reflex disappear to 2-3 months years old. It's when pressing the palm of the child with tubes, the child open mouth and bends the head forward to breast, to chest, for example. Basic spinal reflex is also many information about this. It includes defense reflex, supporting reflex, sleep stepping reflex, upper grasping reflex, lower grasping reflex, and Morrow startle reflex. You should see how make it check it reflex and some months when reflexes disappear. Okay, today you we finish. We working without interval. Thank you for your attention. Uh, oh, question which you have after our lectures, you um, ask your teachers at practice classes. Так. Все, good luck.